Welcome to Chat with Chris and Pat, day 29.
Day 29. Can you believe it? Day 29?
29.
Isn't that pretty awesome? Okay.
So, today I had a really fun encounter with another homeschool mom. And it's always really great to chit-chat about homeschool and all the jazz because it's something I haven't done in a really long time. Anyway, so what we were thinking, and we were talking about, like, reflecting about why we chose homeschool in the first place, like 22 years ago.
It'd be interesting to see if our memories will be the same on this,
or we haven't talked about this one yet.
Our drive behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember.
Yeah. So we're gonna just have a chat and recollect about why we started homeschooling in the first place. So I am really curious to see what you remember, because I'm very clear about it for me.
There's a combination of things. Easy one is we had some friends / mentors that were homeschooling their kids.
Wow, that had nothing to do with it for me.
Okay, so I think just the seed was planted there. And
for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, but they were rock stars in our eyes back then. So it was like, oh, maybe it's not so strange, But then what was kind of interesting is all my judgments about homeschooling, which is actually probably still made today, which was how are they gonna deal with social environments like
the real world.
My school experience was the right way to go, right? So it's kind of like you don't think about it, you don't think about that, but it's very arrogant, isn't it?
But what was your experience at school?
Oh yeah, I went to private and public school. I was picked on.
Did you have a large social circle? Did you feel like you were included, or?
In high school, in middle school I did, but we were kind of like the cast outs a little bit, and I was okay with that.
Yeah. But you thought that was the right environment.
Right. I thought that was the environment everybody should go through, and we liked it. But anyways,
it was shitty, and it was the way it's supposed to go.
I hope we're on the border of digressing.
Yes, we are. Okay. Anyway.
So, anyways.
But you felt like they should have the same experience. Your kids should just naturally have the same experience.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, they should all go through that because it's life and it teaches you and da-da-da-da.
Gen X mentality.
Yeah. So, and look how I turned out. Yeah, that is laughable. So
no self-esteem issues.
Yeah, I did have some, definitely.
No,
which, long story short, that impacted all, but we'll get there, like at another day. But anyways, and then there was I'm not gonna say what thing we were in, but one of the leaders in this thing that we were in sounds like a cult, right?
I know. I'm like, what? We were in a multi-level marketing group.
We were in a multi-level marketing group. Okay. But one of the things they said that I thought was profound was that they said, and I think this really sunk in for me. People that have their kids in the school system, they're being raised by their teachers 8 hours a day, and then they come home to me if I was in this situation, and I really only have about maybe 3 to 4 hours to really make an impact on them. So they said that's why I homeschool. Is to have the impact on my children that I at least want to give them a chance to see and have that kind of that leadership in their life type thing.
Okay.
So what was it for you?
My motivation had nothing to do with
I know where you're going to. I know where you're going.
Think I'm going?
You're going to, you want me to name drop the place?
Maybe, I don't know.
Victory Baptist.
Oh, yes.
Is that your motivation?
That was so twofold.
Okay.
So my motivation was, I grew up military, as a military brat, and we moved around, and I had moved from Colorado public schools to Alabama public schools in between my middle school and high school years. And the change in education standards was drastic. Drastic. I had to repeat classes that I had in 8th grade. I had to repeat them in 9th grade because they said, one, it didn't matter that I took them in 8th grade. They didn't transfer because I had to have them for high school level in Alabama. But I had already so they were already like a year behind academically. And I'm like, and then there was so much mentality that, and this again, 30 years ago.
Right.
But the mentality was not what I wanted my kids to be surrounded by. There was a lot of bigotry. There was a lot of misogyny. Just to be blunt,
Yeah.
So, and the teachers just did. I felt like I knew more than a lot of my teachers, but that's another subject. There were some great teachers, don't get me wrong. There were some that were fantastic, and I wish I, could give them a hug for what they did for me then. But there were some that I'm just like, well, how are you still teaching? Anyway, I just knew that I did not want my kids in public school in Alabama, and we were in Alabama when it came time for our firstborn to be in school.
Right.
School age. And so at 4 years old, she really wanted to go to school. And so we were like, hey, you know what? This will be simple. We'll just try this little local preschool that was offered at a Baptist church. We're not Baptist, but how bad can it be?
We were on the verge, but anyways, go ahead.
We were exploring different denominations, but we were Methodist.
Yeah.
Anyway. And it was so bad. She was 4 years old, and she started having these issues of coming home with wet pants because she didn't want to ask the teacher to go to the bathroom. Okay, I talked to the teacher. I was like, she needs to be able to ask you to go to the bathroom. Is there a reason? And they're like, oh no, we have bathroom breaks, blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay, well maybe she was just afraid. Knew it talking to adults or something, and we thought we worked that out. And then she came home crying, and this was my straw. She came home crying one day and said that she had to sit at her table alone with her head down because she couldn't blend sounds and join the reading circle. At 4 fucking years old, I was livid because she couldn't blend sounds. She couldn't join reading circle, and they punished her for not being able to do that. And I'm like, education is meant to be fun. Education is meant to be expanding and interesting.
Encouraging.
And you're supposed to want to learn. What are we teaching? Oh, I was livid. So we talked, and I'm like, so I'm not putting her in public school here. And obviously private schools, if they're gonna be like this, way out. I'm not doing this bullshit. And so I was like, I guess we're homeschooling. I'm like, I don't know anything about it. I guess that's what we're gonna do. So I got a book that was like, I don't know, it was this book about all the different ways of homeschooling. And I read all the different ways of homeschooling. And the Charlotte Mason approach was what most excited me and I thought would be really beneficial for her. So that's how we started. We started Charlotte Mason method of homeschooling. And it was a really beautiful experience. But when I told the teacher that we were going to homeschool, do you remember what she said to me?
You're going to ruin your child's life or something like that?
She said, well, it's a shame you've decided to do that. You're ruining your child's life. Oh, wow. Honey.
You just actually helped out the cause by saying that.
Oh my gosh, I was so angry.
We had friends at a church, friends that were very critical of our decision.
So many people. Your mom.
Yeah,
oh,
my mom.
My goodness. Your
Yeah.
mom gave me hell for that.
I'm sorry.
And, everyone had an opinion, and I was ruining our children for sure by doing this.
Later on, my mom ate crowish.
She did. She actually, but it took like 10 years. But she finally came back around and she's like, I can't argue with the results.
Yeah.
So I guess my thought is I was determined to make education a joy and like something that you're wanting to do, because I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning, but you don't as much. Like you've had to like redevelop a desire to learn, because when we were together, like in the beginning, you're like, oh, I'm done with school. No more. I am not learning another thing, because you were forced to.
Right. There was not
learning
a love
wasn't
for
fun.
learning. Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, I want to learn something new every single day. Like,
so,
I love it.
Back to what I just said earlier. Look how I turned out. So yeah.
But, I mean, in all fairness, I was also in public school because my parents were both working parents, and my mom was a single mom for a time. So there wasn't like an option for me.
Good school system. I was in Florida system at that time.
I was all over the place because of the military, but I think the real difference is I just had an innate love and a curiosity, and I've always asked why, which is also what got us like down many rabbit holes, is me asking, well, why? And why is it that way? And why do you say it that way? And what makes it so? And how do we know that's really what happened? And
a lot of times we got stupid answers back, or I don't know, right?
Or that's just the way it's done.
That's just the way it's done. Not good enough.
Is never going to work for me.
Yeah.
Why do we send our kids to school? Well, because that's just the best way. No, it is not. It is not the best way to do this. It might be for some. But I firmly believe that we are all individuals, and when you try to put individuals into a box, you lose individuality, and then you grow up as adults who don't even know who they are. And so and from the Charlotte Mason version, we slowly moved over with like Thomas Jefferson for some time, and then we slowly worked our way over to unschooling completely. And that works for a lot of kids. I think what it's not working, like the self-directed learning is, I think, the best way to do. Unschooling is technically self-directed learning. However, I do think that there are some parameters that I would suggest, because each child is different, and the parents are hugely important in that process. I am a natural unschooler because I just like to follow my curiosity, where my youngest, following his curiosity is overwhelming, and he really needs more direction. And so we've worked on how to do a bit of both, and how to create structure for him, with some guidelines and some deadlines and some projects and what we're working towards, to be able to have something to guide him, while still allowing it to be self-directed, because he's involved in the process of creating the curriculum. So anyway, I could talk all day about homeschooling stuff, and if anyone's interested in talking homeschool with me, please reach out. I want to talk about it. But that's why we started homeschooling, and it's really interesting that you and I have such different views.
Like what kicked it off? Yeah. I mean, I know ultimately it was like to say, babe, we have to homeschool would have not been, in my opinion, fair at all.
Yeah. Right.
But
because you recognized it would be me.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, we had to make that choice, and like when we had children, we made that choice that I would stay home with them, even when we, even at 19 and just turning 20 and all that, we made that choice that I would stay home because I wanted to have an influence on them. I wanted to enjoy my children and know who they were, and not not to give guilt to anybody, but that was just my personal choice, that I didn't want someone else raising my child.
Yeah.
And so we made the commitment to have a single income for that reason, which was really challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure was.
You know, it's a different level of commitment. And sometimes it wasn't real fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had to take a part-time job in the evening or things like that.
Right.
Sometimes you had to take second jobs. But, I mean, it was our commitment.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
And then more kids came, and then that was another reason we had to switch from Charlotte Mason to another approach, because as the kids came, you were like, oh, I can't do this with it was like too much.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think our, well, maybe that didn't have anything to do with it, but our religious journey was taking a different thing too.
Yeah.
And Charlotte Mason was.
Well, that wouldn't matter so much to
No.
me, because you can modify it to.
Yeah, that's true.
You can modify it to a pagan curriculum.
In fact, I think you were modifying it.
I was,
to at
100%.
least. Yeah.
I had modified it quite a bit out of the
Yeah.
religious context of it.
Right.
But anyway, that's another conversation for another day, because we have lots to talk about on that subject.
Right. Yeah.
That was another rabbit hole that led us to out of Alice in Wonderland. Or into Alice in Wonderland? I don't know.
Yeah, yes, in.
I don't know. I'm saying, would you consider leaving Christianity coming out of Wonderland? Like out of, or going into it?
Maybe into it. I don't know. It depends on how you see it.
It's out of the Matrix.
Depends on how you see the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know we're probably going to make some enemies on that one. My bad. That's who we are.
Yeah.
Gotta get real. Gotta be real. Just laying it out there.
No offense intended.
No.
Yeah.
For us, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
It was a complete world shifter for us. But anyway, that's it for today. And feel free to talk about homeschool stuff with us.
Yeah. I mean, you say us.
With me.
Yeah.
But I mean, dads might want to know what to expect, or I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, from my position, for the majority of the part, I've been supportive.
Yeah.
You know, could I have studied more? Yeah. I could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you're homeschooling or thinking about it, keep it up. Keep digging and asking those questions. Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.